Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into a name known pretty much everywhere. A name that, well, it often sparks really strong opinions. Neymar Jr.
Love him or, critique him, you just can't ignore him.
Exactly. He's undeniably a global icon, and we're here to sift through the material you shared with us to really try and understand the full picture.
Absolutely. We've got quite a bit here: articles, research, biographical notes. And our mission for this deep dive is basically to go beyond the headlines, right?
Beyond the viral clips, the record transfers.
And pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge about his journey. It's quite a story. It takes us from really humble beginnings all the way to being one of the most talked about figures maybe ever in football.
So where does this story even begin? It's not on some gleaming European pitch, is it?
No, not at all. It starts in Mogi das Cruzes, a city in São Paulo, Brazil. Neymar was born there February 5, 1992. And he grew up in a pretty modest working-class family. They were navigating, the real challenges of financial struggles, which is common for a lot of people in Brazil.
That context feels so vital to understanding him, doesn't it? His father, Neymar Santos Sr., he wasn't just a parent.
No, he was a former pro footballer himself.
Right, and became this absolutely pivotal mentor figure in Neymar's life. And his mother, Nadine da Silva, and his younger sister, Rafael, they were just crucial parts of his support system from day one.
Yeah, that early environment, it shaped everything. His love for football, it wasn't really cultivated in formal academies at first.
Oh.
It was honed through futsal and, crucially, street games. That's where you see that signature flair developing,
Yeah.
The quick reflexes, the close control, the dribbling.
That's stuff we know him for today.
Exactly. It's pure, unadulterated Brazilian football DNA, really.
And that talent, well, it didn't stay hidden for long, did it? I mean, can you imagine being spotted by a major club like Santos FC at just 11 years old?
Yeah, that was back in 2003. And it meant the whole family actually uprooted and moved to Santos City so he could join the academy. Big move.
Wow. Being labeled a prodigy at such a young age, that comes with its own immense pressure, I bet.
Oh, for sure. And that pressure just ramped up even more when he was 14. He had a trial with Real Madrid's youth team, which is, an incredible opportunity.
Huge.
And apparently he impressed them significantly.
But his father, he made the call to keep him at Santos for more development.
Yeah. That must have been a tough decision, turning down Real Madrid.
Definitely. But it really cemented his early professional path in Brazil, didn't it?
Yeah.
He was set to debut for Santos, already carrying this huge weight of expectation.
And navigating expectation, well, that became a recurring theme, wouldn't you say? I mean, beyond the pressure of being the next Pelé, which was just immense at Santos, his whole journey has been marked by, significant adversity.
Oh, absolutely. Just think about it. The pressure of poverty early on, feeling responsible maybe for improving his family's situation.
Yeah.
That's a heavy burden for a teenager.
Yeah.
Then the public scrutiny that came with being this young star labeled a prodigy. It's a lot.
And then a massive hurdle has just been injuries. When you look back at his career, especially during his time at PSG, these recurring physical issues were a constant battle. He missed a staggering 119 matches there due to problems like fractured feet, ankle injuries.
And those were prime years for any player, weren't they? So significantly impacted by being sidelined.
Totally. And that injury record, it definitely fueled a lot of the criticism he's faced.
It did, didn't it? Questions about his durability, sometimes even his professionalism, seemed linked to those recurring physical setbacks.
And it wasn't just injuries. There was criticism about his off-field discipline too sometimes. Figures like, the legend Pelé himself, and even his former Al-Hilal coach Jorge Jesus commented on things like late-night poker or partying.
Right. The public eye scrutinizes everything.
Exactly. And his life hasn't been without legal troubles either. There have been tax disputes in Brazil going back years, and allegations around documentation related to the huge transfer to Barcelona back in 2013.
It really makes you wonder how someone navigates all of that. The poverty pressure, the huge expectations, constant injuries, public criticism, legal stuff.
Yeah.
It really speaks to a significant level of resilience, I think. Mental strength, too, to just keep performing at such an elite level through it all.
And that resilience is probably what allowed him to achieve some truly defining career milestones. milestones. I mean, his professional debut for Santos came incredibly early. He was 17.
Back in March 2009, yeah.
And he didn't just debut, he made an impact straight away, scored 14 goals in 48 appearances in that first season. That's pretty good for a 17-year-old.
Definitely. And his breakout year really felt like 2011, didn't it? That's when he won the FIFA Puskas Award.
Oh, that goal.
For that absolutely stunning solo goal against Flamengo. And he led Santos to their first Copa Libertadores title in nearly 50 years. That was massive.
Yeah. It really solidified his status in South America. He was named South American Footballer of the Year in both 2011 and 2012.
Wow.
You have to go back to Diego Maradona to find the last player who won that consecutively. That puts you in legendary company very, very quickly.
And then, of course, came the move to Europe in 2013, joining FC Barcelona for, what was it, 57 million?
Yep, 57 million. And he linked up with Messi and Suarez.
That famous trio, MSN.
Yeah.
Incredibly potent attacking force.
And they delivered, didn't they? Spectacular success. He played a key role in Barcelona's treble win in the 2014-15 season La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League.
Incredible season.
And he chipped in significantly, 39 goals that season. This period really showed he could perform at the very highest level alongside the absolute best in the world.
Okay, so here's where the conversation around him gets really intense, especially financially. 2017.
Yes. The big one.
The record-breaking transfer to PSG for $222 million. It wasn't just a transfer. It felt like it fundamentally changed the economics of football overnight, made him the world's most expensive player.
By a long shot. And his performance at PSG, despite those injury struggles we talked about, it was still statistically pretty impressive. He scored 28 goals in his first season, was instrumental in winning multiple League One titles.
Yeah, they dominated domestically.
Totally. In total, he scored 118 goals in 173 matches for the club. Now, okay, the Champions League title eluded PSG while he was there.
The big one they wanted.
The big one, yeah. But his individual contribution was still pretty significant, you have to say.
And internationally, his story with Brazil started just as early and has been just as impactful, really. Debuted at 18.
Yeah, 18 back in 2010. Scored in his first game against the U.S., actually.
No way.
Yeah. And he won the 2013 Confederations Cup, got the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player.
And a real highlight, maybe the highlight for Brazil, was leading them to their first ever Olympic gold medal in football in 2016.
Oh, absolutely. Scoring the decisive penalty in the final, that was like a huge monkey off Brazil's back, And he was the one who delivered it.
Incredible pressure. And of course, the monumental achievement. He is Brazil's all-time top goal scorer.
Tied with Pelé himself, 79 goals in 128 caps.
Just staggering.
And he also holds the record for the most goals in World Cup qualifiers with 12. Even when he was battling injuries, he had key roles in the 2014 and 2022 World Cups and was named to the 2021 Copa America team of the tournament.
The numbers they speak volumes.
His career then took another turn, didn't it? August 2023.
Yeah. Joined Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia, a 2-year deal, reportedly worth, $100 million annually? Huge money.
Wow. But kind of like parts of his time at PSG, his impact there was pretty quickly limited by another significant injury.
Yeah, unfortunately. Tough break again.
Which brings us pretty much right up to his current status as of May 2025. He's made a homecoming. Yes, he's currently back playing for Santos FC in the Campeonato Brasileiro Serie A, serving as the team's captain.
That's amazing.
It's a remarkable full circle moment, isn't it? Reconnecting with the club where his whole professional journey kicked off.
But the return comes at a time when, his career has been heavily impacted by injuries. We mentioned the 119 missed games at PSG.
Yeah.
But looking at just the last 3 years, the sources say he's been sidelined for a combined 648 days.
Wow, 648 days. That's a lot of time out.
It definitely raises questions about physical longevity, doesn't it? Especially now he's 33.
For sure. Despite those injury concerns and his age, though, his career goal totals are still immense. 359 club goals in 584 appearances, plus those 79 international goals.
Incredible numbers.
He remains a central figure in Brazilian football, no doubt, and his return to Santos is incredibly symbolic. But you're right, his performance will be watched very closely because of that injury history and his age.
So, what do you think his future holds? Reports don't really detail specific long-term plans beyond Santos, do they? But the immediate focus seems to be rebuilding his career there.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps with an eye on the 2026 World Cup. Is that realistic?
Well, it's hard to say. Given his global fame, his age, his experience, You could easily see him transitioning maybe into a mentorship role for younger players down the line, or leveraging his massive profile to explore media or entertainment opportunities. But the decision to actually return to Santos, it strongly suggests a focus on his legacy, I think.
Yeah, connecting back to his roots.
Exactly. And perhaps a desire for a different kind of impact now.
Okay, stepping back from the stats and the timeline for a sec.
Yeah.
Let's look at Neymar as a person and try to understand why he generates so much discussion, globally. He's such a complex figure.
Absolutely. He's known for being charismatic, flamboyant, that incredible flair both on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
His style of play, rooted in those futsal and street games we talked about, it's often compared to Brazilian legends like Pelé and Ronaldinho. It's just entertaining to watch.
And he seems really deeply family-oriented. We mentioned his father as a mentor, and his sister Rafaela is reportedly like a very close confidant.
Right. But that familial side is often contrasted, in the public eye anyway, with the criticism he's faced about his lifestyle, the partying, the poker, that kind of thing. Those critiques from prominent figures, they certainly feed into the narrative around him, sometimes painting a picture of someone whose off-field activities maybe detract from his potential.
Yet we also know about his generosity, don't we? The sources mention his philanthropy, providing aid to communities, particularly in the Baixada Santista region near Santos, where he grew up.
Yeah, that adds another layer to his persona, definitely. He sort of embodies this fascinating blend. Immense natural talent, incredible resilience in overcoming poverty and injuries, and this ability to perform under just crushing pressure.
Right.
For many young Brazilians, he represents a dream made real, doesn't he? A symbol of hope. He's this global celebrity, but he comes from a background many can relate to. And this complexity, I think, makes him both polarizing and inspiring.
And that complexity, combined with specific events, is exactly why he's always being discussed.
Yeah.
It's that combination of his extraordinary talent, those record-breaking transfers.
That 222 million UV move again.
It wasn't just a number. It changed the whole market. And just his larger-than-life persona.
Yeah, and his flair and showmanship on the pitch constantly divide opinion, don't they? Is it creative genius or is it theatrical? Does it contribute to the perception of diving sometimes?
Right, that debate never ends.
And the injuries, the off-field controversies, the tax issues, the lifestyle critiques, they just provide constant fuel for media scrutiny and public debate.
But beyond the controversies, his cultural impact is pretty undeniable. He's appeared in films, on talk shows, but maybe most importantly, he inspires countless young street footballers around the world who dream of following his path.
It's definitely a career and a life that generates a lot of commentary. And sometimes that commentary relies on certain narratives that maybe don't capture the whole truth.
Okay, let's touch on some common perceptions then, and compare them to the facts from the sources we have. One is that he's only about flair, that he lacks substance.
Well, the numbers strongly contradict that, I'd say. His goal statistics alone, 359 club goals, 79 international goals, and the fact he's won 26 professional titles across different top teams and the national side, that demonstrates clear, tangible effectiveness, substance on the pitch year after year.
Good point. Okay, another one, that he's simply injury-prone and past his prime.
Well, we have to acknowledge the injury record, right? 648 days sidelined in 3 years is significant. You can't ignore that.
No.
But his current status, returning to Santos, captaining the team at 33, it shows he is still actively competing and clearly deemed a top player by them, even if his physical challenges are ongoing. It's maybe more nuanced than just past his prime.
Okay. What about the idea that he lacks discipline, often linked to those lifestyle critiques?
Yeah, while there has been public criticism of his off-field activities, you have to think. Maintaining elite performance at the very highest level for over a decade, consistently scoring goals, contributing to titles, that requires a fundamental level of professional commitment and discipline.
Okay.
Regardless of maybe what he does in his private time, you just don't achieve those kinds of stats on pure talent alone for that long.
Fair enough. And the perception that he underachieved at PSG, mainly because they didn't win the Champions League with him.
Well, winning the Champions League is incredibly difficult, as we know.
Yeah.
And while that specific trophy eluded him and the team there, his actual record at PSG was still very strong. 118 goals in 173 matches, multiple domestic titles. Calling that underachieving, it might be an unfair simplification of his contribution to the team's success during that period.
So boiling it down, what are the absolute undeniable key facts that really stand out from all this?
Okay, key facts. He is, without question, Brazil's all-time top goal scorer with 79 goals matching Pelé. That's huge.
Monument.
He holds the record for being the highest-scoring Brazilian in UEFA Champions League history, 42 goals.
And that unique record, the first player ever to score in both legs of the Copa del Rey, the Champions League, and La Liga in a single season. That was during his time at Barcelona.
Incredible consistency in big games that season, and of course, the most indelible financial mark. His transfer to PSG for $222 million. It still remains the most expensive in football history.
And across his professional club and international career, he's won 26 professional titles.
26 titles.
Yeah.
Across Santos, Barcelona, PSG, and Brazil. It's a serious haul.
Looking at this entire journey then, the incredible talent, the challenges, the achievements, what principles could aspiring athletes, or maybe honestly anyone striving for something, potentially learn from Neymar's path, based on everything we've discussed?
Well, there seem to be several key lessons embedded in his story, I think. One is definitely the importance of honing your craft relentlessly from a young age, like his dedication to futsal and street games, just putting in the hours, seeking out and really valuing mentorship like he clearly did with his father, seems crucial. Overcoming adversity is obviously central. His ability to rise from poverty and then battle through all the significant injuries demonstrates incredible resilience.
Yeah, and building and relying on a strong support system like his family is clearly vital when you're facing that kind of intense pressure.
Definitely. And balancing that passion for the game with the necessary professional discipline, even when you're facing scrutiny, that seems essential for longevity at the absolute top.
Learning to embrace immense pressure too, right? Like that next Pelé label, channeling it rather than being crushed by it. That's a powerful lesson.
Absolutely. And maybe finally, the importance of giving back, using your success to uplift others as shown through his philanthropy. It adds another dimension to what a legacy can be, beyond just the pitch.
It truly is a story just packed with triumph, incredible talent, and immense resilience.
From those humble beginnings in Mogi das Cruzes to standing alongside Pelé as Brazil's joint all-time top scorer and becoming one of football's biggest global stars, his journey really embodies dreams, doesn't it? But it also reveals the very real struggles faced under that intense spotlight.
And despite the injuries, the legal battles, the constant criticism, his statistics, and the sheer number of titles he's won, those hundreds of goals, the 26 titles, they really solidify his place as one of the truly great players of his generation. I can't argue with the numbers.
No, you can't. And his return to Santos in 2025 marks this really fascinating new chapter. It seems driven, perhaps, by a desire to reconnect with his roots, the place where it all started.
He remains this charismatic, sometimes controversial figure whose story is undeniably inspiring, but also, maybe, serves as a powerful reminder of the pressures and the human challenges faced by anyone in the global spotlight.
So yeah, to wrap up this deep dive into your sources on Neymar Jr., we really see a complex blend, don't we? Extraordinary talent, incredible success, significant challenges, and this larger-than-life personality. Despite the roller coaster of ups and downs, the constant discussion, the very public struggles, his impact on the game and his statistical achievements are simply undeniable. His journey really offers a fascinating look at the pressures and realities of global fame in sports.
And considering this latest chapter, his return to his roots at Santos, combined with that persistent challenge of injuries now at age 33, it leaves us with a bit of a provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider. What does this suggest about the balance between chasing peak performance in the biggest leagues, the absolute pinnacle, and maybe cultivating a lasting legacy that's rooted in where you began? Is this move about more than just playing football?
Something to think about as you continue your own deep dives.